Hey everyone, welcome to today's call. I'm Gina, I'll be your host, and we're going to go into grief part two. So it'd be great if anybody could let me know to make sure everybody can hear me, or if you want to type in the comments where you are tuning in from, that's always fun for me. And then we're just going to go right into today's topic around grief. And this has to do with recognition. Will I be valued? When we have situations where we're not valued, it can have a tendency to affect our self-esteem. And, it's ways that we don't feel seen or heard. And grief is tricky because, people can have a hard time witnessing somebody else's grief if they have deep grief of their own. And I'll just give you a really quick story and then we'll move right into today's session. After my husband had passed, I'd lost him to an illness. I would have what would be called a grief burst. I would be in public and someone could be wearing like the same style of his favorite shirt, or there'd be like, oh, heavens forbid if our song came on in the grocery store. I would just kind of lose my grip on reality, burst out sobbing. And usually, for whatever reason, it always happened to be at the checkout. And usually, someone around would say, "Oh my God, are you okay? What's wrong?" And I would just say, "Hey, I'm just having a grief burst. I just lost my husband and, I need a second." And I can even feel it kind of like well up now. And it was interesting because when, I said, "Oh, I lost my husband," it was like crickets. Like people would just kind of like, you could almost see them kind of fade out. And then I almost felt like I had to comfort them, even though I was the one who was in the act of distress at the moment. So what I learned to do, and I'm not recommending this, but this is what worked for me, is again, I'd be in the store and if I had a grief burst, I would just say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, my dog just died. I need a minute." Everyone, I mean everyone, would come to comfort me. And I just thought, how weird is that? That if I lose my husband, nobody can deal with it. Nobody wants to go there. But if my dog dies, it's great. And I understand, man, we love our pets, man. We have such yeah, we just do. So I understand the difference, but this is just to understand that, grief is really tricky for us. And so I just wanted to share that story. So, to let you know, everyone deals with grief in a different way, and it's a challenging topic. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the session. And again, this is going to be around recognition. So find a comfortable place you can sit down. I'm going to shut off my camera so that I'm not distracting. And we will actually get into today's session. Being on this call allows me to work with your super conscious mind to provide you the shifts so you can create a life you love. I am not a doctor or a therapist, and I offer no advice. Unlocking resilience takes no responsibility for the use or misuse of any resources provided. You, as the listener or the consumer of these products, take full responsibility for your mental health choices and behaviors. And as we begin to lean into the theme of recognition and how that relates to grief, find a comfortable place where you can sit down, maybe even placing a hand on your heart. Breathing in and exhaling whenever it feels comfortable. Maybe you can turn off everything that dings or pings so you can fully bring your awareness to your body and to land in this moment with me. And while you're focusing on your heart and your heartbeat, I'm going to open the session. For those that are new to my work, I will introduce your brain to the superconscious and set up your healing metaphor. Our subconscious mind likes to speak in metaphors, which makes this process easy to set up and work with. And as you focus on the body, I'm going to speak to your superconscious. Superconscious, please set up the healing procedure, showing the brain, the conscious mind, and the subconscious mind the process. Using the metaphor of healing trauma and pain, and the body is like a boat on a smooth, calm lake. When painful emotions and memories come to the surface, it creates rough waters. This creates challenges while boating on the waters of life. Superconscious can smooth out these rough waters to a smooth, calm pond again, so life can be smooth boating again. Breathing and allowing your conscious mind to activate and bring your subconscious mind into the healing program. It is already in your mind-body complex. You just may not have known you had access to it. Superconscious, please run the beginning process so the body can start using this process, and to use it even after this session is over. And superconscious, please treat all parts and memory structures that want treatment, that you tagged from the last session until now. Treating it slowly and safely. And when ready, do a massive history change and everything after that. And superconscious, any parts that don't want treatment, don't know what treatment is, or just curious, or maybe avoidant, can be placed in the observer mode. Please gently inform and show them the treatment process and the benefits of treatment. Remind them that no parts die, no information will be lost, and that we treat rest and treat rest so the parts can stabilize before we move on to treating more. The intention of the treatment is to remove hurt and painful emotions and replace it with positive, self-empowering emotions and elements. And ultimately, for the parts to integrate with the main identity so they can run the body easily and together without conflict. And let these parts know that they can join the treatment plan at any time. And superconscious, with kindness and understanding, please find and support all the parts that are associated to and with the structure of recognition in life to be available for today's session. Breathing and noticing. And as we move more deeply into the session, ask yourself, did you feel valued as a child? Or did you experience something else? Did you feel you were chosen? Or did you experience something else? When was the first time you can remember feeling you had to sacrifice to be valued, to change who you were? And what was going on around you at that time? Just feeling into all of this, and I'm going to speak to your superconscious. Superconscious, please treat everything in the active experience fully. Treat all snapshots, decisions, emotions, projections, expectations, separations, and judgments. Treat any sensations that have been triggered from others that got internalized in a disempowering way, and replace them with self-empowering snapshots, emotions, decisions, and beliefs to form an identity that is aligned with my heart's desires and not the judgments and punishments of others. In this process of developing value and choosing yourself, to create calm waters around self-value. Please treat any broken agreements with self, unaligned intentions, unfinished communications, or any other mindset or brain barrier. Anywhere they have taken an external snapshot of a disempowering person, emotion, or event where I felt devalued, less than, or not worthy, and it was internalized. Take and treat all of that, and once treated, replace it with new self-empowering elements and a new self-empowering inner voice in its place of validation and worthiness. As superconscious, please treat any parts that are associated to and with feeling not chosen, negative validation, built in as a compliment, feeling not worthy. Anywhere these got internalized, treat them and then do a massive history change and everything after that. And this will take a few minutes to integrate. So I'm going to go silent while you continue to focus on your body and the shifts as superconscious continues to treat. Continue to focus on your body. The superconscious continue taking and treating all that is there. And when you are ready, what is your intention for today's session? Where can you validate yourself and feel valued, even if others seem not to? And most importantly, is there any purpose in devaluing yourself? Again, breathing and noticing. Feeling into any grief or discomfort that is there. Feeling what is underneath. Feeling unappreciated or not valued. Who or what has happened to change the self-empowering belief in yourself? Welcome any rough waters, any rough beliefs, body sensations that come up as we focus on this session today. Superconscious, please treat the structure of all disempowering associations to and with these beliefs, these sensations, anything that's creating the rough waters in the active experience. And treat any beliefs related to feeling rejected. Beliefs like, I am not accepted, I don't belong, I have no value. Any beliefs also that relate to that I'm only liked for my body or my money. Or any other related beliefs, thoughts, memories, emotions, or experiences. And maybe you can hold space for all that is coming up for you. And I will speak to your superconscious. Superconscious, please go back to the original event where any of these beliefs and behaviors were first created, learned, and definitely reinforced in this lifetime or any other lifetime. And please treat this event fully and all the memories associated to and with these rough waters. And if possible, go back to right before the most dominant, intruding belief developed and treat that. And once treated, Create an anchor in its place to weather any storm, accessing new positive self-empowering beliefs, memories, to replace all the tagged and treated elements. And then any that are left, please replace them with self-empowering elements. And then also treat all disempowering elements that has reinforced this lack of value from that moment up until now and into the future. And when ready, do a massive history change and everything after that. Again, breathing and noticing. Letting the superconscious do the work for you, smoothing out those rough waters. Setting the intention to reclaim the mastery of your own boat, your own heart. And how does that feel? Knowing that smooth waters don't make a creative or skillful sailor. And superconscious, please identify the predisposition, the parts and complex structures that led to these associations. To and with any belief that lack of personal value is even possible. Tag and treat them fully. And when appropriate, do a massive history change and everything after that. And refocusing your breath and your attention on your boat floating on the waters of life, and just observe. Notice any judgments that you may still have about yourself and about being seen, feeling valued at the same time. For some, this may come up as the fear of missing out. That causes them such grief. And if this is you, focus on that. If not, continue focusing on your original topic. And again, you want to notice if there's any judgments that you might still have about being seen and feeling valued at the same time. Around any beliefs about others not valuing you or not appreciating you for who you really are. What is it that you might not value about yourself? What do others say isn't valuable about you? What judgments or criticisms do they throw blame or shame your way? Are these floating in the waters of life, or did they get into your boat? And how are you noticing it in your body as you focus on all of this? Really get in touch with those feelings and sensations and know that it's safe to allow it to be there so superconscious can treat it. If it is too intense, you can use the surface of the water to show superconsciousness what needs to be treated, what needs to be soothed. And again, I will speak to your superconscious. Superconscious, please treat everything in the active experience fully. Treat and smooth all of the rough waters. Please clean out the boat of any beliefs. Treat all beliefs and behaviors from others and self that got internalized in a disempowering way, and replace them with self-empowering beliefs and behaviors to form an identity that is aligned with my true heart's desires, and not the behaviors and beliefs of others. In this process of developing my true self, the true identity, treat any broken agreements with self, unaligned intentions, unfinished communications, or any other mind barrier or brain barrier. Anywhere they have taken an external or outdated opinion of a disempowering person, emotion or memory or event and internalized it, tag and treat that and replace it with new positive self-empowering beliefs and behaviors, a new positive self-empowering inner voice. Superconscious treat any parts that are associated to and with these complex structures, these internalized interjects, and then do a massive history change and everything after that. And as superconscious continues to treat this, you begin to notice the shifts that are happening. And superconscious remind all parts that it's statistically impossible to have no value. Just because you didn't know what to do when you were a kid doesn't mean it decreases your value. Continue focusing on the things that you may be afraid of around grief. And superconscious, please treat any fear, any resistance, self-doubt, feeling of not being valued, fear of the intensity of grief. Also treat any fear of not being seen in a positive light, maybe feeling unworthy or not knowing who or why. Please treat the structure of all disempowering associations to the structure, including parts, traumas, interjects, and beliefs. As superconscious, please take and treat the individuation process of the internal and the external to make a clear division between me and not me, real and not real. So my true self can be experienced as self-empowered and feels valued by me and feels worthy. Treating any contradictory thoughts or beliefs, and when appropriate, do a massive history change and everything after that. And superconscious, please identify the parts, predispositions, and complex structures that led to these associations, that led to this internalization of not feeling valued, not feeling worthy. Diagnose the pathological consciousness of the concept of value and replace it with the natural consciousness of the concept of value. Since the beginning of time, breathing and noticing. Again, we need you to tag and treat, and treat and rest, treat and rest. Bringing in the value of rest. And I'll go silent for a bit while superconscious continues to treat and rest until your parts have stabilized. Continue breathing and noticing. And super conscious, are you ready to move forward? Yes. So super conscious, please replace any devalued objects that have been internalized with a positive self-empowering object. Self-empowering memories and experiences so that they can have an internalized, self-empowered validation of self. If an internal object is even still needed, and begin developing the true grounded connection to self that resides in the heart. Treating all heart memories as needed. And when ready, do a massive history change and everything after that. And for this round, focus on or around your body. Maybe adding in a comforting color, if any, that you may need or comes to mind. You might imagine your whole body filling up with this color, if any, and connecting all of your energy centers and placing your attention on whatever part of the body your attention is drawn to. As this is happening, it creates a balanced self expression of self love, self esteem, self validation, and worthiness. As super conscious, please treat all of these energy centers, anything that is contradicting this new valued self. And please replace all disempowering behaviors and beliefs within these energy centers, whether it's the meridians, whether it's the vessels, or any mind stream, with extra focus on the water element in the body and mind, so that we can flow with the waters of life. And treat anything else that is causing disorganization in rough waters, or a collapse in energy, or feels like the capsizing of my boat. And super conscious, treat all energy centers so they function as a whole. And replace the treated disempowering memories with positive self-empowering beliefs, thoughts, memories, experiences. And continue supporting the self-empowered interject to express self-respect, self-love, and a grounded connection to self. And continue treating this until these are 100% true of the main identity, so that the main identity understands and knows that it can value your needs. It's safe to be valued, and most importantly, you can fully feel your value and your worth. Again, treating any contradictory elements, and when appropriate, do a massive history change and everything after that. And again, I'll go silent for a moment to allow the integration to continue. And when you're ready to move forward, breathing and focusing on your heart. Ask your heart as I begin to fully value myself, letting go of my grief. Who am I becoming? What are my heart's desires? Who is my new valued self? And what would it look like for me to be fully valued, being my true, authentic self? That it's okay for me to go on with my life and to live my life as I move through grief? What aspects of yourself would you like to be seen and acknowledged, even valued? What aspects would you like to be able to be validated for? What does being valued look like and feel like to you? As super conscious while treating the heart memories, please restore and reinstate the original truth, the original belief of enoughness, worthiness, value, belonging, connection, and community. Please reinforce positive self-empowering beliefs such as I am valued, I am loved for who I truly am, I am worthy and deserving, I value myself and others just as they are, I love and value myself, I can love and be loved. The superconscious, please treat any contradictory elements before reinforcing these beliefs until they are 100% true in the main personality. For often we are taught in society that if we value ourselves, we're being arrogant, and that's not true. And again, treat all contradictory elements until smooth waters are the norm. And when appropriate, to a massive history change and everything after that. Again, breathing and noticing. How much resistance do you have to valuing yourself? How much do you hang on to having to have the validation and recognition of others? And superconscious, please treat all parts, predispositions, and complex structures that are holding these old beliefs in place. That value has to come from somebody else. And when ready, do a massive history change and everything after that. And as we continue to build this new self-empowered self, superconscious, please do the sentence procedure on. I have healthy boundaries with myself. I listen to my needs. I value my needs. I am a priority to myself. See, we have this misunderstanding that boundaries are for other people when boundaries are truly just for ourselves. And the better we have our own boundaries, the easier life can be. As superconscious, please treat all memories associated to and with these statements. Anything that prevents us from bringing in these healthier new views and boundaries. And continue supporting and reinforcing these statements until there are no more contradicting parts, thoughts, memories, events, or experience associated to these new positive phrases. And when ready, do a massive history change and everything after that. And superconscious, where possible, please repeat this process on any other supportive phrases. And continue to treat them until they are absolutely positive and until the main personality is boating on smooth waters with beautiful weather and is accepting of these positive statements, these empowering truths, especially anytime these phrases are seen, felt, heard, or come to mind. Again, continue treating any contradictory thoughts, rough waters, or beliefs from self or others until only self-empowering beliefs will be accepted and valued by the main personality and parts. And coming back to your body and your breath and checking in with your original state. the original statement of, am I valued? And how do you feel now? Check in and see how your boat is doing on the waters of life. Notice any shifts that may have taken place. How are you feeling about and around the concept of being valued or chosen by others? And more importantly, yourself. Focusing on your grief. Can you feel that little bit of joy that bubbles up when there's more space? And as you continue to focus on that new space, I'm going to bring the session to a close. Super conscious, please begin the closing procedure and integrate all of the memories we have touched today into memories 1, 2, and 3. Tana memories, shadow memories, ego states. And please treat all levels of the body's physiology. And between now and the next session, take the memories in a neutral way and treat any disempowering or negative part and then replace and reinforce positive self-empowering memories in their place. And super conscious then do a complete massive history change and everything after that. Taking a moment. And as you bring your attention back to the room you're in, I will bring the session to a close. And how was that? And I know sometimes people wonder why I'm not going directly at the grief, and we can do that in future sessions. There are three main things that are underneath the grief, and that's what we're addressing in this three-part series, is we're addressing the issues and the emotions that are way, way, way underneath that triggers a lot of grief. And I'm not saying that you will never have grief, but there's definitely a situation to where you don't want to get stuck in it. And I can give you another quick story and then we'll go ahead and close the session for today. I appreciate you joining me. So again, when my husband had passed, he had a lot of computer, I don't know if I want to say digital, he had a huge digital imprint on the internet. And one of his things in his will was that I needed to eliminate his digital imprint. And he actually got too sick too quickly for him to show me how to do that. So then I had to take a class on it, and I ran into this lovely lady in the class who said that she would help me do that because she understood what I was trying to do. And so her and I would meet, and she would help me, eliminate all sorts of digital imprints that he had on the internet. I mean, he had his own server. It was a big deal. But that's not my point. My point is because she goes, "Oh, I lost my husband too, and I know what that's like." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, perfect. We're kind of in the same boat, and we would kind of talk about, our grief experience and those things. And I don't know, it was maybe after 4 or 5 times getting together I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. It just seems like, this is really hitting you hard. When did your husband pass?" And she said 8 years ago. And I just remember being stunned and thinking to myself, that can't be me. I can't be in whatever state I'm in. I can't be in this state for 8 years. I can't do it. And so and maybe I can do a video for that, as I call it Grief 101. It's all the things that I did to kind of move myself through grief, because I even know my deceased husband would not want me to drag out the grieving process for him for 8 years. And I know it takes as long as it takes, as I just think there's so many of us that don't have the tools and the resources to help us process our grief. And that's why this is so important. And it's not to put any judgment on her, because I will have to say she was married much longer than I was and maybe had built more with him. So, and this was actually my second husband. So we'd only been married for maybe a year, which doesn't, I still don't think it eliminates the level of grief, because I will have to say he definitely was the love of my life. Um, for those of us that are lucky to have that, and maybe I'll have to do an audio on those who haven't had that, because that definitely causes grief. Anyway, I'm rambling. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this session here. You can leave me comments if you want, subscribe if you want to know when the next one is going. By all means, you can contact me to let me know what issues you need addressed around grief. Grief is huge for everybody. We still have one more thing in the series. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, I'm really touched that you feel that the session worked for you. And again, you can use these sessions over and over. There's no way you can wear them out. However, do not do them too closely together. I did that last week, and it definitely left me in a state of what I would call agitation. So that's how you're gonna know if you're doing too much of this work too quick, because you'll either be agitated, you'll have to sleep a lot. Some people will want to overeat. It depends on whatever your triggers are and that kind of stuff. So again, I will close today's session, and I will see you next week.